Welcome back to New to Medical Device Sales. I'm your host, Jacob McLaughlin, coming to you guys at a new location. If you guys are watching at YouTube, I'm actually very lucky to be house sitting this week, so I have some visitors of dogs that I'm watching and hanging out with all week. But coming to you guys with an episode today about a couple of things. Number one I wanted to talk about was follow-up because I wanted to share the experience I just had with a job interview and a job opportunity with an offer because of follow-up. And then I also wanted to just dive in on a couple of things that I feel each person should be doing to be successful with getting job offers with someone I just talked to. So one of my guy friends that I've been getting help from to break into this industry, who's been mentoring me, is Scott Macon and his fiance Sarah Stengel as well. And they run the Road to Medical Sales podcast, and they're absolutely great people based out of here in Phoenix, Arizona. And we got together this weekend just talking about some of the opportunities. He actually had me on his podcast going over what I did to break in and actually get an offer from one of the medical device companies that I was applying for. And so I just wanted to go in and kind of touch base what we talked about there. But first off, I want to talk about follow-up. So number one, just going into follow-up, the way I look at follow-up is, and if you don't know what follow-up is, I should start there. If you guys don't know what follow-up is, it is, texting, emailing, reaching back out to whoever you just talked to and saying thank you for their time, kind of touching on your guys' strengths, all that good stuff. So how I did this was every single rep that I've talked to, like I told you guys, I've talked to over 160. I would send a text follow-up after every single time talking to them. And it was usually a couple hours later because I didn't want to do it right away. But it was always like, hey, thank you for your time. I want you to know how much I appreciate your advice and all your help. And then I would also usually touch on like one thing that they mentioned to show that, I was paying attention or that I was taking notes. That's how I followed up with every rep. But I'm taking this into going for a job offer. So I'll kind of to walk you guys through what just happened. So as you guys know, I've been going through job interviews. I've actually been offered one and I end up turning that one down just because I have some other opportunities here. So I have two opportunities here in the Scottsdale, Phoenix area. And I was in talk with one of my hiring managers, and so he gave me a call and let me know that I didn't get the job. He said, hey, you're my number 2 choice. You're a great candidate, but I just wanted to let you know that we're going to go probably with a different direction, but let's keep in touch, and that way we can see where the future takes us, because it's a growing field and you never know what could happen in the future. And so I was like, thank you for your time. I really appreciate it. Thank you for the consideration, all that good stuff. Well, I just wanted to tell you guys what I wrote back in an email because a lot of people might just have been mad and they would have been like, well, screw it. I'm not going to write back. I'm done with them because I didn't get the job. And I actually heard a podcast last week, which kind of played into this. And the podcast, the guy was talking about how he was going up against 3 other people who had way more experience than him, and they were going for a job, and he didn't get the job. And then he wrote a really nice follow-up email about just saying, hey, thank you for the opportunity, all that good stuff. And then he got a call about a week later, and he actually was offered the job, and what he found out is nobody was offered the job. They said no to everybody, and they wanted to see who would follow up and who would write back and how they would respond, and that's what got him the job. And so I just wanted to share my experience real quick. So like I said, I got told yesterday that I didn't get the job, and I just told the hiring manager, hey, thank you so much. I appreciate the consideration and look forward to moving forward and hope the best for you as well. And then I sent an email last night, and I CC'd, it was to him and to the HR person that I was working with. And so I just sent out a general email, but it was just like, I want to say thank you so much for your time and consideration during this interview process. I feel honored to be considered by a prestigious company and I put the company that it was for. And then I just wanted them to know how much I appreciated their help and their time during this process. I told them I know our paths will cross again in the future, but until then, I hope you have a great rest of your week. And then I just signed it. And then the reason I bring that up and the reason I'm telling you this story is I actually got a call this morning around 9:30 a.m. from that same hiring manager that told me yesterday I didn't have the job. And he called me and he said, hey, Jake, Hope you're doing great this morning. I wanted to let you know that we might be actually going in a different direction than what I told you before. And he's like, I told you you were a great candidate. I was excited about you. And he's like, I just want you to give me a couple days to kind of work some things out, and I'll be in contact with you. So the only reason I bring that up is, could my email have done it? Maybe. Could have not affected it at all? Maybe. Like, I don't know. But I wanted to touch on the importance of follow-up, because no matter who it is, this hiring manager, I've done my research on him. He actually was on a podcast, so I learned about him. And the one thing I remember taking away from him is he was huge on follow-up, because how he looks at it is, that's how my rep, once they're in that position, is going to follow up with a doctor or a surgeon or somebody in that field. And so that's something that I took to heart and wanted to make sure that I did with him is, hey, I'm going to show that no matter what, I'm going to make sure to show that I'm professional, I can do it, and also that I will circle back eventually. And so, again, like I said, I don't know if it worked out in my favor because of that. There could be a million different offers or different reasons, like, you know, so maybe the candidate they had has other offers, they're not going to do it, like a million different things. But I like to believe that something with that note, writing back and just appreciating their time and their consideration and showing that you really do care about them and that you weren't just trying to get it and get out, I think that goes a long way. So no matter who you guys are talking to, whether it's just a rep that you're just trying to learn from and touch base and kind of build a relationship with, or you're in the interview process, the one thing I've been told by a lot of hiring managers is they want to see follow-up, and not just a text. They want to see, you know, that you're thorough. And one thing I will always say, if you're going through the interview process, you know, once you're asking about that question of like, hey, any concerns that you have, to list them, make sure to just hit on your strengths. And before you end the interview, hit on your strengths. And then in that email, when you follow up, be like, I know you had some concerns in this area, and I would just hit on my strengths every single time. But this is why I believe I'm the best candidate. I look forward to moving on in the process with you. So that was something that I've had success with. So again, I'm still in the running for these two. They are actually all starting to go this week. So it'll be exciting to see what happens with everything. And just being patient is the hardest part right now, but trying to make sure I'm prepped up and ready to go for whatever happens. So I wanted to talk on that real quick, but going into that second part that I talked about with Scott, and like I said, Scott's a rock star rep, doing a lot of upper extremities, does a lot of shoulder arthroplasty. He's just a great dude, but he's also like helping a lot of people break in, especially with no sales experience, which I'm someone who doesn't have sales experience, that B2B that they want. And so he's been able to be a great person to talk to and just kind of hear his experience and what he did. And he's given me ideas for what to do. And so we were talking, like I said, I was on his podcast this week since I got an offer last week. He wanted to have me on and talk about what I did. And it just got me thinking, and these are the quick things that I wanted to touch base on that I didn't know that I wish somebody would have told me. So first off, you guys probably hear hiring manager all the time and you're like, what is that? And I couldn't find it for 3 months. It took me forever to figure out what a hiring manager is. If you guys don't know what a hiring manager, it's normally the regional or the district manager of that company, or that area, you know, like, so they might have a West regional manager, or they might have a East Coast district manager. It took me like 3 months to figure out what the heck a hiring manager was, because I was actually searching hiring manager. So that was a tip I wanted to give you guys, because that just took me forever. But then also just being a person that's doing the job before you get the job. So like I said, you guys know I've done an Excel sheet. The reason I did the Excel sheet is to show that I'm already doing that, because once I'm in the position, that's what I would do. You know, you have to have a list of the doctors and hospitals you've stopped at, what your guys' last contact was, taking notes about it, the days. So I was just doing that, and that's got me a lot of good traction. So that was number one that I wanted to bring up to you guys. Number two, just having that quote unquote it factor. And again, this isn't me trying to be coming off braggy or anything. It was just, I've been told by recruiters and hiring managers that I have the it factor, and whatever that is, they've been told it's just, I'm passionate, I'm high energy, I like to smile, I'm a happy guy. And that's just truly who I am. But they've told me that over and over. So I just want to encourage you guys, if you don't have that sales experience, don't let that put you down, because if you're someone who's a go-getter and you're just ready to attack life and you're happy and all that good stuff, that it can turn in your favor real fast. So that was number two that we talked about. And then number three was the follow-up. So I already touched all about follow-up, but they talked about how important follow-up was. And the last one I want to talk about, number four, I know I'm flying through these, but number 4 is just not giving up. And the reason I say that, so I tell you guys I've talked to over 160 reps, right? Well, I sent out over 2,000 messages, easily over 2,000 messages on LinkedIn. I would spend all day adding people and sending out messages. I would do an hour in the morning and an hour in the evening for 6 months almost. And I would do it every single time, and I'd go. And for every person that was like, hey, that's great, I had like 3 people who, they didn't respond, or they're like, that's horrible. Like my favorite story is, during this process, I've had several people like, you're wasting your time. You must suck because you've talked to 150 people and you haven't got in. And my always combat is, okay, I appreciate your feedback, but we're also during a time where it's COVID and every single company I'm talking to is on hiring freezes. They're now finally starting to open it back up, hence why I'm starting to get some offers. But I just want to encourage you guys, you're going to talk to some real negative people, and it's just because they're not happy in their life and they're not happy in their position or whatever it is, and they think they're better than they are. And I say that not to like try to be like thinking I'm better than I am. I just, being a personal trainer, I've got to learn a lot about human behavior. And when people try to bring you down, it's because they're not happy with where they're at. And so I bring that up because, I used to get told I was stupid. I was getting told that stop wasting your time calling people and actually go try to get a job. That the reason that I've said that I even talked to that many reps is embarrassing, and the fact that I haven't got a job, something's not lining up. Do I actually just suck? Can I not get in because of COVID? Like these were things people actually told me over the phone, which again, I think it's good to hear because you have to be able to hear the hard stuff. And I would just tell them, I appreciate your feedback. I thank you so much for your thoughts and your experience, and I appreciate your feedback, but also staying true to who you are. Because again, I'm very lucky. I work with a lot of very successful people. A lot of my people are millionaires that I train. So I know that the mindset behind it is like, as you keep going, it's going to work out. And that's something that all my people that make a lot of money, they tell me, like they were put down, and here they are living a good life. And so that's just me here to encourage you guys as this thing stretches on. Like I said, I'm going into 6 months right now, and I've worked my butt off during that 6 months to just get these opportunities. But I just want this to be a little piece of advice of like, hey, keep going, because people are going to put you down. Keep going when people say, hey, you're wasting your time. Keep going when it's been a year and you still haven't got in. Because that's another thing I found out is like an average person I talked to out of the 160 people, when I asked them how long it took them to break in, the average I heard was 2 years. If they were a real rock star, they were in under a year, or they knew the right people to get in under a year. Or I even talked to people that they tried for 7 years. Some of them didn't even get in. Some of them just went the other way, like they did something else because they tried for 7 years and they couldn't get in. So again, it's a long road. Everybody has their own journey, and just keep encouraging yourself. And if it's something that you really want, it's never going to be easy, but it's going to pay off in the end. So I know I went off on a little rant there, but I just want to just be an encouragement to you guys because it can suck when you're going and you're 6 months in and you're getting told you suck and you're just wasting your time, and maybe you should just go get a real job. And it's just hard to fight those sometimes, but I just want to be a voice to be like, with these opportunities I have, I'm so excited and I can't wait to share with you the possible opportunities that I have to just be like, nah, it works out in the end. And as long as you're consistent and you're a hard worker and you're positive, it's gonna be okay. So again, you guys, I appreciate you tuning in. If you haven't, please press that like and subscribe button if you're watching on YouTube. Otherwise, if you guys are on the podcast, would appreciate a 5-star review. And then also shoot me over any questions that you guys would like me to answer, or anything that I can do to help you guys. I've already been having some calls with some people from this podcast, or even just LinkedIn messages. I'm always happy to go over anything that I've done that's helped me be successful this far. Again, and once I get in, I hope to be a bigger resource to you guys, because I know I'm in the same boat as everybody else. But I would just love to be able to help you guys be able to learn a little bit more, and also maybe just save you some time. Like, it's taken me a long time to learn all this, and I've done a lot in the last 6 months, so maybe I can save you guys some time. You guys can find me at Jacob McLaughlin on LinkedIn. You can find me there on YouTube. Also, Jacob McLaughlin Fitness on Instagram. I'm on all the channels. Just use my name, Jacob McLaughlin. And if I don't come up, use Jacob McLaughlin Fitness on all the other ones. I'll eventually come up somewhere. So appreciate you guys. tuning in. I look forward to speaking with you guys on the next one. And I just want to encourage you guys to keep staying hungry, go after your dreams, and I will see you guys on the next podcast. Peace.